Morning, morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. For all you military people out there, or mercenaries, or private security contractor, this is the episode for you. We have two lovely ladies in the car from America, and they're going to tell us about what they do and how you can get compensation if you had the misfortune of being injured. So nice to have you here today, ladies.
Oh, thank you so much. It's Joanne Hoffman, and I have my secretary, Beth Priest, with me. Say hello, Beth.
Nice to be with you today.
Yes. Well, we just want to say, first of all, that to anyone that has worked in military service or has helped the military by working for the defense contractors, thank you. Thank you for your service and your many sacrifices. We are so lucky because the gentleman that is with us today has served. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I did 12 years in total. It's equivalent to the reservist of what you would call in America. But I've done 2 tours of Afghanistan from 2005 to 2006, the winter tour, 2009 to 2010, which is summer tour. Second tour was what you could refer to as infantry, so patrolling, seeking the enemy out and having a conversation or a dance or party with them. And the other one was supplying and working artillery 105 guns. And that's me in a nutshell in that respect.
And then, did I understand that you went back and did some defense contractor work?
Yeah, well, I did 5 years on the ships where we do stop the pirates hijacking the vessels.
Somali.
Yeah, well, it's not the Somali, but there's pirates all over the place, to be honest. But we focused in and around the Indian Ocean, as far down as South Africa up to Egypt, over to Sri Lanka and Kuwait. So bouncing around in all those different countries. We was in Yemen when they started to have the civil war. We went to Kuwait, obviously. We was in Egypt and during the Arab Spring, and Sudan when they started to have their issues. So we're doing lots of different things, and it's interesting. I chose to do that because I like the sea and I like swimming, and I know the Iraq situation was coming to a bit of an end in certain respects, and there was and I didn't want to do West Africa, so that's very dangerous with the Nigerians, because they have a saying that dead men don't tell tales.
Well, that's the truth.
Literally, dead men don't tell tales, so it's a whole other ball game. But tell us about your company.
Oh, well, certainly. So of course, I've been doing injury cases in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and there in the United States for 30 years. And so we started realizing there was a tremendous need to help people who had helped our country, and being very appreciative of their service. I kind of believe in there being a message. So one of my paralegals came in and she said, Joanne, she said, we've gotten the medical records of a gentleman who is in Peru, and he fought for the government and as a defense contractor worker, and he's injured and he needs help. And I said, do me a favor. And I said, please send the records that come from the insurance company. And I said, please send the records to him and let him know we got them by mistake, and he should send them to his attorney. So then she came back in, he said he can't get an attorney, and could you help him? And I said, oh, well, let me look into it. And that was 10 years ago. So then everything just sprang into, and then the more people we'd help, the more people knew about it. And so we have this very international focus. Just like you said, how you've traveled and you've seen the world. I only really trust traveling places and seeing it for myself. I mean, Kenya is one of my great loves. We represent a lot of people in Kenya.
Yeah, I used to live there.
Yeah, isn't it beautiful? And I intend to go back very shortly, in the next 12 months for sure. I'm here in London presently because, we have an international presence, and we get to meet great people like you. And it's just one of the most fascinating cities in the world.
Can you explain, so how does it work exactly? Because most guys are not going to have the money to pay for a lawyer or attorney. Was it like a no-win, no-fee basis? Or how does it work?
It's totally no-win, no-fee. We've never charged anyone 1 penny out of their pocket. So we look at things, we see if we can help them, and hopefully we can. And we've taken cases against big odds. When most recently we were in Uganda, and we brought back a lot of cases. People all wanted to try to get help. And they're not huge settlements for the Ugandans, but maybe $17,000 in their pocket.
Well, that's good though.
It's-
Still,
and you-
that can build a house for them.
It helped them with their house. It helped them. They would give back to their community, so maybe they could buy more cows or grow more corn.
The tribal thing, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
and
that it actually did enhance their communities
Yeah,
because
really.
they were able to really help out.
and it was so beautiful to see the good things they did with it and what good people they were. And of course, we fought an uphill battle initially. Many of the conservative judges in the more conservative areas, because these are federal cases, they're given to judges all over the United States. Well, along the big cities, they're more liberal. They've seen people, they're aware of how things are. But in our little rural communities, the judges just could not get their heads around these cases. But then eventually, I think little by little, we're starting to get favorable judgments for them. Of course, the insurance company wanted to litigate everything with us, and we're like, that's fine, whatever you like.
When you, just for the listeners, when you say litigate everything, what does that mean?
Okay, certainly. So you say you're injured, and you would email me what happened to you. My email is Joanne, JOANN @joannehoffman.com. And you would say, this is what happened to me or my husband when he was serving, and he's had psychological issues since then, or we've had a lot of people, and you probably saw this, the big burn pits. Our country just recognized, we just instituted the PACT, P-A-C-T Act, and now our veterans can get awards for cancers and intestinal issues and everything they develop from the burn pits. There's presumptions. There's like 10 diseases that are presumptive. I don't know if you're aware of this, but President Biden's son died from brain cancer after serving there and being exposed to the burn pit smoke.
So he was a real advocate for that coverage for the vets.
I mean, so many of our vets ended up with cancer at such young ages. It was just... But anyway, we're starting to acknowledge that and pay death benefits.
What about for where they've issued drugs, as in, let's say, where they say malaria drugs or various other drugs, like during the Gulf War, they told the guys they have to inject themselves because of the WMDs or the chemical gas, but then it caused loads of problems later on.
Yeah, so
Do you guys cover those kind of things?
Well, we don't represent the military just because the defense-based contractors are such a huge group. We have to focus on doing one thing successfully.
Okay.
But there are attorneys out there that will handle cases for the military, and what you asked about was the Vietnam and Agent Orange and everything. Those are covered by the PACT, P-A-C-T Act. They can look it up online.
Yeah, I had PACT.
And now they can get benefits for those types of things. So if you come down, with stomach cancer or something really, out of the ordinary, it's now being recognized only by the military. Now, for me to litigate these cases for these judges again, they're going to be like, oh, it's you again, and you've got a new claim, and I'm going to be like, yeah. So it'll take a while, but I feel that the PACT Act and recognizing it for our military opened the door that maybe I can convince some of the judges, for our defense contractors.
Okay. See, when you say PACT, it rings a bell now because I remember filling in these forms when I was prior to going on tour. What does it stand for? Do you know?
The PACT Act stands for, let me look it up for you to get the exact
It doesn't.
Promises Act. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. It was a
Okay.
cute little thing they came up with to help people. But we also do general injuries. So like if you're hit by a car, if you're riding your bike and you get injured, if you slip and fall, we do those as well all over the world.
So you just have branches in different divisions of different places in the world and just work from there.
Yeah, exactly. And as you well know, the new way of working is remote. People really just, can work. Like you could be on your laptop in a cafe in Istanbul, and still be working away. So this is the best time really in the world in terms of how we can all see each other as a community.
You seem very motivated with what you do, and I admire that. What actually motivates you?
Oh, you'll love this one.
Go on.
Yeah. I get down on my yoga mat and I ask how I can make the world a better place. I ask really why am I here? You know, there has to be a bigger purpose, and of course I am given answers, and it's really to help people. I mean, I also have helped the elephants in Kenya because there was a period when they were being, you know, headed toward extinction. We still have terrible drought in Kenya. I mean, if we didn't have those boreholes in the Tsavo Park, we would lose so many more elephants. I mean, that being said, there must be as we talk, you know, 5 elephants that die from drought there today. But so we have to make the world a better place, but we have to make it a better place not just for the elephants, of course, but for the people of Kenya, that they can find water and feed their families, and so we can all coexist.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Well, tell me what motivated you to go travel the world and see everything.
Well, I was adopted from a young age, and they used to travel a lot, and I'd go all over England in my early years, and then all over Europe, and then from then on, as I've got older, the different industries I've took up, whether it's commercial construction as a site manager, or the military, or maritime security, it's involved travelling, and I've always loved travelling. I travelled when I was in uni as well. We went to Egypt, we went to India, we went to Cyprus, we went to the States, studying different forms of construction all over the world. So when we went to San Francisco, obviously you've got your earthquake zone. So you build your skyscrapers with dampers on the 13th floor, 13th because you guys are suspicious. So you, instead of people living on there, you put these big kind of coil springs with big rubber mats as deep as this car. 2 of them on top of each other. So when the building moves, it just just rubs in the different floors. 13th floor and 33rd floor. They usually do it. There's a famous building in America which is in San Francisco, which is like a bit like a pyramid but very slender, and it's got 4 spikes. I'm probably not describing it too well. That's got it in there, because we were, as students, we were taken to many of the skyscrapers. So we did that. We went to India and all these different places around the world. In South America, Mexico, in Aztec, Mongol.
You traveled quite a bit.
Yeah, and all those kind of things. But yeah, travelling's great. It opens your mind. It's a bit like this. I do this job and I meet people from all over the world. I've met this lady from Kyrgyzstan. She's talking to me about that, about the history of the people. So I said, your eyes are quite oriental. And she said, yeah, because we're Chinese. We're kind of Chinese mix. We are part of the Kyrgyzstan.
Wow.
Yeah, and then she's explaining the history and all these things. So you get a brief history lesson, and then you meet somebody else. I can't remember who this other guy was from. And there's another guy from Greece. You know, it's all different people.
We love the Uber drivers because we learn they're from all over the world, and we learn so much about the different cultures, and the same thing as travel. You know, we learn from one another. It's a big world.
Yeah. Well, Abraham Lincoln said, "You learn from everybody, even if it's not what to do."
100%.
Now you have 2 QR codes in your car. Are they different
one
podcasts?
for the Africa investor stories. I do one about investing in Africa, where I interview people who've invested in Africa from around the world.
Wow.
And they talk about their experience, with good or bad, or good, bad, and ugly. And so the idea is that people can learn from their experience.
Yeah.
The other one is the Taxi Chronicles, which you're part of now, and people are just talking about what you do and along those lines of things.
I think it's brilliant that you're chronicling this. I think it's fabulous.
Our neighbor in Fort Lauderdale is from Angola, Africa, and he's a very successful developer there. He builds buildings, he has oil wells and everything. And so, we've seen him come and go over the years with his children and grandchildren. And he's brilliant. One time he came into the house, he sat down at my piano and played like a concert pianist. I'm like,
He's quite the storyteller.
Yeah, so we love things. We love to really meet people from all over the world and see their souls and all the good that's being done.
I hear you. So to remind us before we wrap up, because I thank you ladies for sharing your gift of journey. Where's the best place people can get in contact with you?
Just go to our website, which is the www.joannhoffman.com, spelled Joann, Hoffman, ffman.com, joannehoffman.com. There's a link there to contact us, and we're happy to answer any questions. Everyone's welcome. We love to help people. Oh, our motto is helping the injured is our passion.
Okay, okay, no, that's good.
Thank you.
That's good. Well, thanks a lot for that, and we wish you well. We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day, as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.